buddy of mine from in town here told me, Matt, the mud mixer, the thing's insane. You don't have a mud mixer? And I thought, oh man, I don't have a mud mixer. I thought about it for like a week. And now I have a mud mixer. Holy smokes. On the video, they show these people like casually lifting it out. They say to tighten it down just before that spring has collapsed. I think we're good. Now we can put on the front, the back. Look at me. So I was wondering about this. If you have water plugged in down below, you don't have access to your water anymore, but you have a little sprayer, which is kind of cool. We are like 10 seconds away from pouring. So we're poured out. We got this taken care of. It's time to strip these forms, look at our concrete, see what it looks like, and hopefully we look good. Okay. Need to use my vibrator on the next one. Not too happy with that. So you can see down here, we've got a few voids. Not exactly thrilled with that. That was on my part though. It was hot. I didn't want to use a vibrator. I shoved everything down with my trowel. For the most part, the thing will work. It's okay. But I definitely could have done a better job. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab some mortar mix. Just coat the outside of this thing so I don't have to see any of this. Fill in these simple little voids. Make it to where it's a solid piece. There's a bit down here as well. Nothing major. Just definitely could have used a good vibrating. But I'm going to finish stripping this out over here, getting this cleaned up, prepping to frame. And then we'll get over here and talk about the mud mixer. Go over everything that I like about it, some things that I learned about when using it, and more.
Thought it'd be golden, crossing the line and don't look back. Think I was broken, I needed some time to clear my head. 'Cause I've made all the mistakes and I've dealt with the heartbreak. But I think that I found my way. I've been sinking like a stone. Carolina, take me home. Nothing's ever really broken. I won't let you go. 'Cause I'm finding my way right back to you. I'll find my way back to you. I see a river.
Let me just finish this real quick. Okay. We had a couple cracks. Not cracks. We just had a couple areas that concrete didn't fill in. So we've got to fill them. Just wanna see you. You will never know just how much I've been missing home. I've been sinking like a stone. Definitely not my proudest moment, but I really wanted to pour. Everything is fine. There was a couple little air pockets here and there. I should have used a vibrator. It was hot. It was 95 degrees out when I poured this thing. Had to learn how to work the machine by myself. I started in the middle here, worked my way to the back side, then worked my way all the way over to here, and I should have just started on one side and worked through. Noted for next time. Unfortunately, mistakes get made in construction, and they get made even more when you're by yourself. So it is what it is. I went through and packed in anything that we had. I mean, the biggest thing was about a 1/4 inch deep. I went and packed that full of mud. So we got our mortar repair in there. We are good to go. I can officially start framing back here, getting this thing situated, bolt down my plate, frame up my cripple wall, and we'll be good. But I want to talk about that machine real quick, go over what I like about it, the things that I figured out on my first day of using it, and yeah, give you guys some feedback. So let's talk about this machine. There's a few things. First off, I put this thing on backwards. I didn't realize it because I was in a rush to get it set up, but the handle should be over here, which would allow me to swing this thing all the way around and go from here to here. I need to change that. That was my bad. So I limited myself, and I was wondering about that when I used it, because I could only go from here to here when the motor hit the other side. That was a classical user error. But as far as the machine goes, because I was able to use it, it worked insanely well. I think it would work 10 times better with 2 people. I think if you were consistently feeding it, I think it would work incredibly well. So let's go over this really quick. I have the additional hopper right up here that gives me more space for concrete. I could really load this thing up instead of being limited to just that. Pretty sure this is supposed to be fastened on some way somehow. I don't have it done yet. I was able to mix around 4,000 pounds of concrete by myself, and I think that in itself is pretty incredible. Now inside of here you can see this spiral piece. This spins as it goes, and that's what mixes up your mud, and it gives you a very consistent mix. What I would suggest is always start and pour into a bucket or pour into something that you don't care about so that you can figure out the mix that you want. Up here you have a rocker switch that goes to reverse, brings the mud back inside, then you have forward, which will shoot the mud out, then you have stop there. Right here is your water adjustment. You can crank this thing as high as you would like it to, and it'll either come out like soup or like rock candy. Now this is one of my favorite features here, because I was curious myself before I even set this up. If I need water, say to spray off a form or to spray off anything, how am I going to do it if my water is hooked up here? But they teed off and they give you a little water hose right here. So as you're pouring, you still have water. I think that is the coolest part. So as I was going, I was able to spray some stuff down and really hone this thing in. That right there is pretty cool. So you really do have like a little concrete mixer on a stand. I think it's incredible. Now up here at the top, you do have this little bar that runs across here. This is where you set your bags across. It splits it perfectly down the middle. The bags fall, and then you pick them up and take them out. And not once did I have any sort of debris from a bag going down and getting mixed. I thought that would be a problem, but I didn't have that happen once. And I mixed a grip of bags. Now you might be thinking, Matt, why didn't you just use a traditional concrete mixer, something like this? It's doable, but multiple reasons. I can't get this underneath the house to pour. The other thing is mixing 80-pound bags. You have to lift those bags up, slice the end of it, pour it in there. You're manually holding that the whole entire time until that bag pours out. There's no way that I could have poured this section here in 95-degree heat with that mixer. Once I'm through mixing with that thing, I'd have to pour it into a bucket and then pour it back out into the footing. It would have been a mess. Now, as far as the mix that we got, once I was able to find a good consistent flow, I was good to go. The issue that I ran into was time and heat. Those two did not work in my favor. But I think for what it is, it worked out okay. And like I said, the next time that I pour this and that, I'll have 2 people here. So we can dual feed that hopper, we can vibrate as we go, and we'll make sure that the next one goes a little smoother. Now, one thing I did notice about the mud mixer, and it might be because I have this thing set up backwards, it was my fault, I was in a rush. Having it on an uneven surface like this, it has a tendency to wobble a little bit. I don't know that that's exactly a problem, but I think working with this unit here, it's probably best if you have the area around your pour somewhat flat. This little hillside right here definitely worked against me. I fought it a little bit, bringing it back up this way to pour this upper section, but it wasn't the end of the world. Let's talk about the next section that I'm pouring with it. So the next section we're doing is this whole run right here. We're gonna pour from over here, over to here. I know a lot of you guys think you're watching me build a house, but we're building a house. A lot of you guys have helped me out, and I appreciate it. I think we're gonna leave the concrete pieces in here, dowel into the side of them, and pour this thing on top, because my footing will be about this much taller than where those concrete pads are. But back to what I was saying about the mud mixer, I'm gonna flatten out this whole entire area so that I just walk this thing down from one side to the other, and it goes as smooth as possible. We'll pack the bags in from the front, drop them in, and the pour will go smooth from front to back. I think it's another case of PPPPP, proper planning prevents blank poor performance. That's the one. I don't know how many P's that was. 6 of them? It's like a government loan times 2. But that's where we're at. Mud mixer, that thing worked out great. I like it 20 times more than that little Husky mixer. Don't know that I could have done this place with that. These next few episodes are going to be fun ones. They're going to be long episodes. We have to get this foundation in as good a shape as possible before I want to continue the rest up top. I've got a family member coming out to help me that I haven't worked with in quite some time, and I'm thankful that he's coming back out. It'll be a good time. We're going to get this formed up in the back here. I've worked with him since I was like 14 years old. So I'm stoked he's coming out to visit for a few days and help me out. It'll help me out tremendously. But I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. If you haven't already, if you could hit the subscribe button down below, it helps out the channel tremendously. I also came out with a brand new t-shirt, the Almost Level Construction Inc. It's the most incredible construction company that's ever been. Everybody always has these perfect names. You've got 5-star tile. You have diamond plumbing. You have all these incredible names that boast about how great they are, so we came up with a parody t-shirt that kind of mocks it just a little bit. And that's where I came up with Almost Level Construction Incorporated, where close enough is close enough. I try to build a little bit better than that, but I thought it was pretty funny. Link for that is in the description down below. Just a little play on everybody making the most perfect construction names possible. Buying merchandise like this not only helps us make all of this possible, but it also helps make these projects possible. And I appreciate that. Also, don't tell anybody, but I spent $5,500 buying something that's in my front yard right now. I can't show you guys until the next episode. My wife wasn't exactly thrilled, but I'm pretty stoked. So keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you guys next time.